Right?
No, not really.
It really was.
Just touch on it was a good goal from Bournemouth as well. I loved the finish.
Oh yeah,
showing that you can do more than acting.
It was an interesting one at the time.
Yeah, because there was two decisions. A, was it over the line?
Yeah.
Goal line technology clearly said it wasn't. It was, and then also the offside. And then Lino had actually flagged for offside. If you watch the picture, he was standing there with the flag up, but go to VAR, and I think that was the right decision.
The funny thing was, watching it back, they never really showed whether it crossed the line or not. They were focusing more on whether it was onside or not.
It was a good
and I'm thinking,
I
don't think it's over, but it was clearly over. Yeah, it was clearly over. I love the way that the Chelsea keeper, he just rolled the ball out, and everyone just ran up, so they were hoping it wouldn't go to VAR, because I think technically their players knew that was a goal.
Yeah.
But Chelsea deserved it. Chelsea are looking poor. And
they really are.
I, for one, am thinking that this, I should have done it weeks back. I should have got Abraham out of my team rather than...
It's an interesting one, because looking at the top 10 net transfers in and out, so this is over, kind of today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Mount, Pulisic, Tomori, Abraham are in that top 10 of most net transfers out. So clearly a lot of FPL managers are losing patience with Chelsea going on kind of their past performances. So it's an interesting one. Do you kind of
I think it is.
A lot of people have just got off the Chelsea bandwagon. They don't trust in the kids anymore.
I think we've got there too late though, mate, because we've just been sticking with them, hoping it'll turn around, and a lot of us have still got Abraham and Mount.
Yeah.
Time to get rid, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of maybe more so like Mount and Pulisic, I'd get out. I mean, Abraham is still their kind of primary source in terms of their goal threat, so you could make an argument.
When he got injured that time, I think that was when you should have allowed him to go.
Yeah, true. But I mean, he came back from the injury, he scored points, but then he's blanking at the moment, and it's not looking good for Chelsea at the moment.
So that pretty much rounds out Ricky's team, though. So he ended up with Vardy. That was his last player. I think we touched upon Vardy already. Still scoring. I guess it was an assist. Doesn't go down as a goal, so he's lost his streak. But either way, Ricky from 5th is now, pains me to say, Ricky from 3rd. Okay, listeners, so that's it. You've heard where we all are in the league. You've seen who's still in the cup. So we've got Sean, John McGinn fanboy, Captain Russ, Ricky Pellegrini, and NVD all still in the cup. Myself, Matty Lawless, and Patrick Vieira are unfortunately now focusing on the league. It's all about the league. We're going to come in.
Is the cup a distraction?
It was a massive distraction, boys. I couldn't take the pressure. I get distracted by hitting the record button, so I didn't have a chance. I think Patrick Vieira, he's on bottom, and he said, I need to focus on getting out of the relegation battle. So it's very sensible from him. We'll see, mate, in the next few weeks if it's a distraction. You boys are still in there. Is that what you're going to focus on more? Or would you rather win the league or would you rather win the cup? That's the question. Well, what do you think, NVD?
Yeah, at this point in time, to be honest, I have got to look at the cup. It is a big distraction.
Yeah.
You just never know who you can get in the cup. You've got a lot of these.
It's difficult, right?
It's difficult because you've either got there's something like 30% of inactive teams that hadn't been touched for like 5 game weeks, and sometimes that either worked or you had players or you had kind of FPL managers that had still kind of captained Salah from like game week 1, for example, and it kind of did the business for him. But if you get that draw, if you get that run against kind of players who are just kind of just not doing the business in terms of the FPL managers,
need some luck, right?
You never know where you might get.
When's the cup draw? The cup draw will it be tonight or tomorrow?
Run overnight. It'll be available tomorrow.
So where are we? Last 32?
No, 2. So it's actually timed so that it will end on the last week of the season.
Yeah, so it's a long haul run.
Wow! If you win,
started
that's pretty impressive.
4.2 million. You're now down to 2.1 million.
I remember a few years, a long time back, when Wigan won the FA Cup and then got relegated at the same time, and I remember thinking, would you rather win the FA Cup or get relegated, or just stay in the Premier League and not win the FA Cup?
I think cash-wise, it would have to be staying in the Premier League, right?
But that's your team's history, isn't it? You win the FA Cup, you're going to remember that forever.
We can do the Klopp and the flop.
The Klopp and the flop.
The Klopp this week, we've just discussed him, man. Just to spite us all, he came back and he got 70 points.
Oh.
It wasn't necessarily the most quantitatively, but he said he would play the long game and he did it. He overtook both of you boys, so serves you right. Ricky Pellegrini, well done, mate.
It does serve us right. We were giving him a bit of.
He got a lot of jip for.
He said he was going to be back and we'd regret it.
He did,
and it was so soon. He didn't even have to wait.
There were choice words, and that's it. 2 game weeks and he's back.
So I actually believe last week we had given him the flop and we had given the clop to Harry Kane. I think that was a touch of death. I think this week we're going to reverse it. And Harry Kane, mate, you're the flop of the week. What did you do? 1 point.
Boys.
1 point. Yeah, we said load up on that. I think the episode last week was even called Candy Cane. And he goes, he doesn't score, doesn't get an assist, despite Spurs scoring 2. And then he goes and gets a stupid yellow card.
It's the commentator / pundit curse.
Yeah, we cursed a lot of people last week.
And I was a bit...
we can't always get it wrong, though. Right, though, guys. We can't always get it wrong, either.
And that was frustrating because that was my captain choice, and that was the biggest downfall of my week. If I didn't have him captain, I would have been, especially if I had De Bruyne or ifs and dots, whatever. But... 50 points is a poor return for me. I'm disappointed. So
I've got to say, I'm
sorry,
impressed
Harry,
that you didn't give me the flop because I feel like a massive flop, mate. From
Harry was worse than you.
We will be partaking in a little break now. If you need to get in touch, left back FPL.
We've got a rambling from the dugout. That could be you.
It is a left.
If you want to get in touch, please do.
Yeah, we have got a rambling from the dugout. You want to get in touch at leftbackfpl. What's the email address, Neil?
Left in the changing room
at gmail.com.
There we go. Left in the changing room at gmail.com. We'll see you later. We're going to get a beer. We'll speak to you in the second half.
Way.
Welcome to part 2 of Left Back in the Changing Room.
Hey,
welcome back, listeners. We hope you've had a good break. Managed to get yourself a little bit of cocoa and your slippers on.
Top up your pint, mate.
All right, top up your pint. I'm trying to keep it PC, mate. We've got to appeal to all audiences. But we hope you're ready for part 2. We're kicking off with a rambling.
Who we got this week?
A rambolino from the dugout. So we've actually got, I'm glad you asked, Sean, because we've got a lady that's dialed in. We have got Sheila from Derry.
Hey guys, it's Sheila here. I'm just out for a fag break and I thought I'd give you guys a call. So we're looking at the fixtures this week and there's obviously a lot of games coming up. There's 3 sort of matches within a week. And it's going to be important to manage my squad, I think. So I just looking at... Normally I just keep a sort of low-priced players on my bench, but I'm thinking this week it might be kind of a bit of time to actually beef up my bench a bit, maybe take some of the higher-value player out of my squad, make room, and actually go for the safer option in case there's rotation, in case there's resting or injuries over the festive period, because I know I'll be sitting there eating my mince pies, watching the football, and smoking my cigarettes, and just want to make sure. Cheers,
Sheila,
let me know what you think.
You got in so quickly I didn't even have a chance to say hi, Sheila. Lovely to speak to you. Thanks for jumping in with that question.
So for me, I kind of agree with Sheila that during the course of the season, I always keep the third place on my bench. I always keep that the lowest value player. Never really touch it. It's sort of the dumping ground per se. I would just fill up that seat with someone low cost. This point of the season is maybe important to start thinking about that and thinking actually should I actually put more thought into who goes in my bench. We've seen so much rotation. This year we've seen City, Liverpool get involved. Obviously they're not playing this week.
So who's your current low value player, Sean, on your team?
Well, I've got Matt sitting there. I think his current price is 4.2 at the moment. So I got him in. He got injured. He only 4.2 million. I thought I can just keep him there. I can park him there.
And he never ever plays, right? I mean, he's played 600 minutes.
Yeah, I think he was playing a bit, and then he got injured, so he's been there. So maybe I should start to use my free transfer this week to actually replace him. I still have 2.5 million in the bench, so I have that luxury of maybe instead of taking someone up my outfield squad, just making sure that I've got cover coming up there. Because it did happen to me a couple of weeks ago that someone didn't. I had a substitute to use, and no one on my bench had any.
So at the moment, your bench, you've only got 2 of your 4 that play. McGovern, he doesn't play.
Yeah, he doesn't play. Injured. Goalkeeper, I'm happy with. Fine. I always
so in this festive period, are you going to get rid of them?
So I wouldn't necessarily use multiple transfers unless I had 2 built up from the prior week. But here, for example, maybe instead of replacing someone that's an out-and-out starter, maybe I say, okay, I've got 4.2 from Wanma, I've got 2.5 million in my bank, and I'm getting, that 6.7 million I could spend on someone who's actually half decent and might have a chance of coming in and getting me some points. Especially, it's that or actually just the out sub for Robertson.
Why haven't you done that? Because that sounds like a pretty sensible move. I feel like you should have done that already.
I don't feel the need to use all my cash, and I've been using my transfers in other places. So, for example, I knew I could comfortably bring in Bruyne this week, and then I know that if I follow a favour of him and I want to bring Manny in the following week once Liverpool are back to Premier League duty, I know that I can quite happily transfer that over, for example, with that cash sitting there. So cash is key to me. Cash is king. I like having that.
You like having that buffer of 2 mil on the bench. So are you going to get more players in then? You're going to perhaps, to Sheila's point, strengthen your bench for this next 3 periods? Or
I think it's a good idea. Yeah, I think I might consider it.
NVD, what do you think, mate?
I think with myself, when I've picked who are going to be your subs or at least in rotation, is even though, again, much like Sean, John McGinn fanboy / Mourinho have gone for low cost options. I mean, I've got Cantwell, Rico, and then sometimes I have Kelly on the bench, and they're all under what I think kind of Rico is the most expensive at 4.3. You got Kelly at 4.3 and Cantwell at 4.7. He's the most expensive. But the point is that more often than not, they are starters, and they're in teams more so with Kelly and Rico that often get the odd cleanie or you get an assist, for example. So so for me, it's I've concentrated on even though they're low cost, the fact that they're always going to be playing. So
I mean, you've got a pretty strong bench. If I look at your last fixture, you had Mendy on the bench at Man City.
I had
Cantwell, Rico, and Wright.
I had 11 points on the bench in terms of defence. 6
from Rico, 5 from Mendy.
So for me, it's always just like making sure that actually your bench players, it's not just the fact that they're low cost, but they are either in rotation or they're out and out starters, because they're going to get you some points, right?
Exactly.
As opposed to nothing. I think that's going to be important in this festive period. The other thing, though, as a kind of counter to that is that sure, you might have some of your big teams that are going to rotate their players because they've got the squad depth, but you got to look at some of the other teams. So, for example, Southampton. I don't think really, even during a busy festive period, they're going to rotate Danny Ings, for example. So if you've got him in your team, don't look to bench him. He's their out and out, performer. So he's going to keep on playing. So depending on if you've got some of the kind of the second half of the table teams, those players are going to play week in, week out, regardless of how many fixtures they've got.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you, mate. I do think that on your bench, you should generally have players that are first team players that do play every week, because even outside of this,
is it not just a waste of money?
No, even outside of this busy festival period, we were all here weeks ago, and we all got extreme amount of luck when Lundstrom came in, right, and played. Even last week,
happened to Russ, captain this week.
It's happened this week for Russ. The value of having someone on the bench that does play is clearly considerably higher than someone that doesn't play. So, at the moment I've got Tomori, he's injured, Cantwell, Rico and Ryan on my bench. So, but to my point, I think you're taking a risky game by not having players that play week in, week out. And I would say, to answer Sheila's question, personally, I think, get players in that are on your bench and play, but not just for this 3 weeks. Just make sure you've got it for the whole season long, because you never know when you're going to need them.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but maybe this week you'll see me make a transfer just to sit as a substitute.
Just to sit as a sub. Bit of a differing of opinion there then, Sheila, but answer, I think, is up to you.
Thanks, guys. Have a Guinness on me.
Oh, you're a darling.
Thanks, Sheila.
Lovely. We love it when the callers send money in. We'll drop you an email at the end, Sheila. Get some money. We take Venmo over here. We take direct debit, check, whatever you've got.
Gyro.
Send us some fags as well, would you? Okay, so good question there. Thank you, Sheila. And we move on. We move on to game week 18, NVD, and we've got some absolute blinding games again.
There's some tasty.
The first thing to mention: no Liverpool this week. Your boys are not in action.
That's right. I think we're playing Monterrey CF in the Club World Cup. I think for a Mexican team. I think most likely to get Flamingo if we go through to.
Do you think, just touching on